What's up, everyone? So let's talk today about accessory work and what specifically I do for accessory work, but not really that important because you don't care what I do. Maybe more my opinion about how we program it and what it actually means. So accessory work, it's used synonymously with like auxiliary work. I've heard it called auxiliary work. I'm not sure what that even means, to be honest with you. Auxiliary work, maybe additional work, weak point training. The point of quote unquote accessory work, use that term loosely, is simply a means to target a specific area more so than a more global movement might not target that area. Let me give you an example. Let's say we're squatting. A squat is a great movement. No one's gonna complain about squatting. But if I want to train specifically my quads, maybe I wanna do something that's a little more targeted at the quads themselves. So maybe something like, I don't know, a TKE, a knee extension, a special kind of squat, like a hand supported sissy squat. I don't care. The idea is that in your global movement, you're training the movement pattern per se. I'm training the squat pattern. And your accessory work, you're targeting, not isolating a muscle, because you're not like necessarily have to do a bicep. I don't know why I picked a bicep. I always went down to do biceps, I guess. You don't have to do a knee extension, but you can do a movement that targets the quads more. So it's not isolated. It's isolated in the sense you're isolating this one little area here and trying to train that area there. And sometimes it's an isolated movement. Sometimes it's not. Point is, it's targeted. I like the word targeted. Like you zoomed in on that target area. And the reason why you do this is because you do a squat, and we're just using the squat as an example. It's only going to target and train the muscles to a certain extent within that movement pattern. For example, if I squat, there's no way all the muscles are worked maximally. Maybe you want to target a different movement to target a different portion of the quads or the back, whatever the heck it might be. So that leads into how I use them. I use accessory movements to target areas that were not targeted by the primary movement very well, that I deem important for our goal. If I want a bigger bench press, maybe that's something like your triceps. If I want stronger legs, maybe it's doing some sort of a heel elevated goblet squat. I don't know, maybe it's a calf raise. The point is, it doesn't matter what you do for the accessory, as long as, in my book, how I use them, they are targeted at a specific area that the primary movement, more global movement didn't necessarily train that well. So when you lift, you kind of have these big compound global movements or primary movements. I use that because I don't know what else to call them. Like a squat, deadlift, bench, lunge. I don't care what you want to do, a big movement. And more targeted, smaller movements. So the accessory work is typically smaller. Now when it comes to sport performance, just because it's a smaller movement doesn't mean you can't do them explosively. You can still do accessory work, kind of explosive or quick or elastic or with different tempos. Don't just think accessory work means 20 reps of a light weight. Accessory work, using the air quotes again, just means we're targeting something. So maybe we don't call it accessory work, maybe we just call it targeted work, and we target it in a specific way with certain reps and sets that are, well, going to be helpful for you achieving your goals, whatever that might be. Point is, global movements, accessory movements, one's not necessarily better than the other, they're just different. One's more global and one's more targeted. And the accessory movements, we target those weak areas or areas that we deem improvement within the kinetic chain, the body, and we train those in a specific way. Fast, tempo, no tempo, isometrics, no isometrics, slow concentric. And we don't just think about them as only high volume, but they're just a more targeted means, typically a smaller total working musculature, not global, than the primary bigger movements. So that's some on accessory movements, how I look at them, how I view them. I hope maybe it drew some clarity, maybe not, I don't know. But I hope that helped a little bit, because I know I've gotten some questions in the past, how I use accessory movements, and I think the word accessory sometimes just brings about some confusing stuff. Because it's not like one's better than the other, they're just different. So whatever, I hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate y'all listening. If you got comments or questions, leave them down below. Subscribe, like, follow, do what we do on the YouTubes. I appreciate y'all, and as always, take care.